Good Monday evening. Welcome to Midwest Sportsnet. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. It is time once again to talk NAIA football here on Midwest Sports Now, and we are talking about the top 5 performances in the NAIA this weekend. Now, I want to ask you really quickly as we're getting going, we'll be talking beyond the 5 just a little bit here, so it gives you time if you're watching us live. Hey, tell me who you think should be in the top 5 from Week 6 performances. Lots of good action throughout the NAIA all weekend long. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go beyond the 5 to get things rolling here. Now, at the start of the season, we had the forum here on Midwest Sportsnet's YouTube channel. We talked with some folks from around the country about, conference picks, who should be at the top of the conference, and did the conference preseason polls get it right? In light of that, we had an opportunity to talk about some dark horse teams. And the teams that qualified as a dark horse team would be someone who was not picked in the conference preseason poll, but we think they have a chance to make it to the playoffs. I had 2 teams that I picked in that forum as teams that I thought would be dark horse teams to be able to make the playoffs. Here's one. Indiana Wesleyan. The Wildcats are now 4-1, 4-0 against NAIA competition, and the Wildcats with a huge victory defeating top 5 Marion 17-10 on Saturday. Xander Stokes, Daniel Weems getting it done for the Wildcats. So here's the deal for Indiana Wesleyan. They've already beaten Marion, who was ahead of them in the preseason poll. They've already beaten Concordia, who was ahead of them in the preseason poll. Indiana Wesleyan has it all now in their the fate's in their hands. It's up to them to determine. They have 5 games left in the schedule. Now, St. Francis is in there as well, but the 5 teams that are left in the schedule have a combined 10-18 record. So it's up to Indiana Wesleyan to get it done. The other dark horse team that I had was Bluefield, and the Rams now are 5-2 and have won 4 consecutive games, getting a 20-14 victory over Point. That was probably a little bit closer than what I thought it would be, what some other folks may have thought it would be against Point. Nathan Hurstich, though, 23 of 38 passing, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, a couple of picks as well. That's what probably kept it close. Jaquan Ebron with 7 receptions and 113 yards on the day. Bluefield now hasn't got the signature wins yet this year, like we talked about with Indiana Wesleyan, especially the win over Marion. But the big opportunity for Bluefield is this coming weekend, October 15th, Bluefield hosting Reinhardt, the preseason favorite there in the AAC. Bluefield, if the Rams get that win, and they've never beaten Reinhardt before, 0-7 all time against Reinhardt, here is a signature win possibility for Bluefield. You get that win, and then the AAC is all up to you, but they have to get the victory against Reinhardt. That is Saturday. So Bluefield, also one of my dark horse teams. But hey, how about Hurstich and Ebron on the day this past weekend? Another player beyond the 5 here. How about Zach Dressler for Friends? Dressler with 28 carries, 184 yards, and a touchdown. The Falcons fall to McPherson. The Bulldogs get the win there, 31-22 over Friends on Saturday. David Timmons helps Sterling to its first victory of the season. The Warriors, 40-34 victors over Bethany. It took 2 overtimes to get it done. And Timmons with 9 receptions, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day, 1 touchdown reception in that first overtime. Timmons helped Sterling to a win. Another team, let's go ahead and stick with the KCAC just a little bit more here. Another team that came up on the losing side, but let's talk about some individual play. Ottawa falls to St. Mary, 33-23. The Braves coming up a little bit short, but Billy Maples, 28 for 48 passing, 375 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And James Reeder. How about this? How about the all-around day for Reeder here? Reeder with 7 receptions from Maples, gets 120 yards and a touchdown. Also had 10 carries on the day, 72 yards and a touchdown. So Reeder with a big day for Ottawa. Hunter Gilbert helps College of Idaho stay undefeated on the season. The Yotes are 6-0 in a very, very tough Frontier Conference. And Gilbert with 16 carries broke the century mark and did it on the final carry of the day. 101 yards on the ground, a 22-yard game-winning touchdown by Gilbert for College of Idaho with 17 seconds left. College of Idaho 27, Montana Tech 24. So that's your final from the Frontier Conference. A big afternoon for Gilbert. Staying beyond the 5, Javonte Harper for Waldorf. And the Warriors are 6-1, 6-0 against NAIA play. Harper with 10 carries for 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they were both in the second half. Had the game-winning score, a 21-yard touchdown with 12 seconds remaining. And Waldorf with a 28-21 victory over Mayville State. They're happy in Caldwell right now. And why not? 6-0 for C of I. And for 6-1 now for Waldorf. I was talking about College of Idaho just a little bit earlier. How about Waldorf with that 28-21 win? Forest City, let's go there. Coach Will Finley's team. And a big game coming up, by the way, for Waldorf. They're at Dickinson State this weekend, and that one is huge. Playoff implications definitely on the line there. Roosevelt and the Lakers have been looking good this year. They look good on Saturday as well. 41-3 victors over Missouri Baptist in that one. And generally, if you get 2 interceptions, we'll find a way to get you in on Monday night, call your name out. Well, we're doing it twice now for the folks from Roosevelt. Cortez Draper, 2 interceptions, including a 22-yard touchdown, a pick 6. And Jalen Perkins with 2 interceptions on the day. Also, Tyler Tenner, 23 carries, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Lakers. Jarrell Calhoun, 5 receptions, 122 yards receiving, 1 touchdown as well. Let's move on along across the country, staying beyond the 5 for a little bit here as we welcome in other folks watching us live. Thank you for being here with us on this Monday night. If you're watching the replay, thank you as well. Please take the time, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate that. Let's talk about Texas Wesleyan here for a moment as the Rams get another victory. Texas Wesleyan now 5-1 on the season, and they do it in shutout fashion against Southwestern Assemblies of God. A big win, 3rd shutout of the season, by the way, for Texas Wesleyan. 35-0 over Sagu. Ernest Caesar for Texas Wesleyan, 12 carries, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalton Dale, 13 for 22 passing, 239 passing yards, a touchdown, no picks. He also had 9 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown on the ground as well. Jake, thanks for watching tonight from Wichita. We always enjoy talking about our friends in Wichita, and the pun is intended. We got to talk about Zach Dressler just a little bit earlier tonight. Staying in the Sooner Athletic Conference, the OUAZ Spirit pick up a win, get things going against Texas College after the upset loss last week. Again, upset on paper, not to upset any Arizona Christian fans, but it was an upset on paper. Devon Humphrey for OUAZ and Donovan Jones, almost equal outputs on the day. And we'll talk about symmetry with OUAZ here in just a moment. But Humphrey, 6 receptions, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Jones, 6 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. And here's your symmetry on the day. Symmetry alert, OUAZ, score by quarter here against the Steers. 14-0, 14-0, 14-0, and then 14-0. That's right. 4 consecutive quarters in which the Spirit outscored the Steers. 14-0 adds up to 56-0 on the final. Hey, Stephen, thank you for watching tonight. We always enjoy talking about Texas Wesleyan. Like to try to get to Fort Worth, and we do want to do a show down there sometime, but I'm not sure. We'll find out. And do we have a Patreon? Yes, we do, and we'll find a way to get that into the description. I promise I'll let you know about that because I would really appreciate the sponsorship. That would be great. We do have a Patreon here. But yeah, we do want to get Midwest Sports Net down to Fort Worth. We'd love to do that. We will be, okay, spoiler alert here. We're going to be in Langston. And I realize, here's the deal, because I know what the schedule says here. So if you're still watching this, Stephen, I know Langston's going to be in Fort Worth on Saturday. We can't make it down there for that one on Saturday, but we will be in Langston the next weekend as they're taking on OUAZ. It was just a scheduling thing. Sorry, that's just the way it worked out. But we do want to do Midwest Sportsnet from Fort Worth. And I promise, Stephen, I will let you know when we come down there for that. In the meantime, yes, I'll get that in the description, and we will let you know. Thanks for following. All right, couple more things here really quickly beyond the 5. Tyler Duncan, Arizona Christian. Again, if I haven't made the Firestorm fans mad already, let me talk about Duncan for a little bit. ACU 60, Lion 8. And this is the battle of 2 teams that are departing the Sooner Athletic Conference. ACU headed to the Frontier Conference, Lion heading to Division 3, and probably, I don't know, may not be able to get out of the Sooner Athletic Conference quickly enough. 60-8, a beatdown at the hands of the Firestorm. Tyler Duncan, 15 for 19, 200 3 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Oh, but that's not all he did. 14 carries for 136 yards, 2 more touchdowns on the ground. He had 39 yards of total offense on the day. One more beyond the 5. Stay with me. We're getting to the top 5 here in a moment, and I would love to hear who you think the top 5 might be, because we rattled off a lot of names here already of great performances from Saturday. Who do you think is going to be in the top 5? We'll show that right after this. DJ Sears from Bethel. The Threshers remain undefeated. They're 6-0. They're singing Father Abraham in North Newton, and probably just on a loop there as you're driving by I-35, be listening to that. Somebody has that playing outside the stadium. Sears now 10 for 18, 193 yards passing. Now, the Threshers are retaining a lot of the ground game, but they're starting to open things up just a little bit. Coach Stokes has them opening things up a little bit. Sears able to throw the ball a little bit more. 10 for 18, 193 yards passing, had 2 touchdowns passing, and no interceptions, excuse me. He was also 11 carries on the ground, 63 yards. Sears, by the way, leads the NAIA in rushing touchdowns. He has 10 of those. Bethel with another win, and this was a big one, by the way. Bethel has already defeated Kansas Wesleyan, and now the victory over Southwestern. This is a huge win for Bethel in the KCAC. So 31-23, the final there. All right. Let me turn the paper around here and see if I can get a graphic on the board really quickly. Let's do that. How about that? All right. Graphic on the board there. Thanks for watching tonight. We have our top 5 performances, and these are, man, they just seem to get, I don't know if they're better every week, but they sure are fantastic, and we really, really love to talk about these things each and every Saturday. If you follow along here on Midwest Sportsnet, you know we cover small college sports. We like to talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. Now, that having been said, we do a lot of NAIA and NCAA Division II. So we've really enjoyed talking about the NAIA this year, especially running through the football season as well as we have. Here are 5 more big performances, and we are going to start off in Seward, Nebraska. Let's go right there. Correll Colmoose from Concordia of Nebraska. Listen, I practice that name, Correll. I want to make sure I get it right. 12 receptions, 130 yards. Concordia gets its 2nd win of the season, back-to-back victories, defeating Jamestown 30-15. Colmoose, 130 yards and a touchdown. Oh, he wasn't done on the day, by the way. He also punted the ball 4 times, had 2 punt returns as well, and get this, picked up 20 yards on a fake punt. I mean, seriously, Correll, if you're watching this and they don't have you selling popcorn somewhere, you need to talk with Coach Daberco about that. Find another way. See if this is going to help in any way with your scholarship. Get it done and taken care of right. Now, here's the big deal about this. With those receptions, 12 receptions on the day. How about double-digit receptions? 12 receptions on the day. That puts him in first place all time on the career mark for Concordia. He passes Ross Werdeman, who had 168. He now has 172 for his career, courtesy Jacob Nabel from Concordia. Great SID work, by the way, from Jacob Nabel. Correll now leader all-time in receptions for a career from Concordia. He also is climbing the list in receiving yards, in 3rd place all-time. He's been there for a little while. He could move into 2nd and even into 1st next week. We'll see what DJ McGarvey has to say about that and see if he gets the ball to him that often. 2,398 yards, and he is 97 yards away from the all-time mark at Concordia. 98 yards away from getting it outright. So let's see what happens there. But again, shout out to the folks in Concordia. And hey, shout out to Correll Colmoose for his career marks there. Season's not over, and the Bulldogs have won in back-to-back games. Frank, thank you for watching tonight. We would love to, hey, listen, I'm a little closer proximity-wise where we're based here at Midwest Sportsnet to Fort Worth. However, I promise you, I've been talking with my wife for some time about trying to get to Sioux City. I want to make it to Sioux City to watch a football game. I want to make it to Sioux City to watch a volleyball game. I want to make it to Sioux City to watch some basketball. I would love to be there. That is on the wish list, and so we are definitely trying to get there. And I've already watched Corey and John tonight, and I would be I'd be rocking a Mustang shirt. So have to get in touch with you on that. But thanks for watching, Frank. We'll get to Morningside here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and stick with as we continue through the top 5. And I have 2 names listed on the graphic for everything from here on out. So stick with me on this. Cumberland two schools who we have not mentioned yet this year. Two schools who have not mentioned yet this year. Let's get to them in back-to-back nights or back-to-back mentions here. Cumberland, the Phoenix, just absolutely blew Campbellville out of the water. A scoring record. How about this? Scoring record on homecoming, 65-24. Cumberland, the Phoenix over Campbellsville, 65-22. And just a big day. Luke Holloway, 20 for 30 passing, 325 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. And he threw 9 of those balls to Jalen Taylor, who had 9 receptions, 94 yards, 3 of the touchdown receptions for him. How about Traylon Shepard as well, just to throw his name out there too. 13 carries, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. Holloway, Shepard, Taylor, big days for Cumberland. Oh, and if it wasn't big enough, they Tim Tebow was in the house. Tim Tebow came, and he got to address the crowd for the Cumberland victory. So just a big day all the way around. Jake, thank you very much. You know what, Jake? I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can get that up there on the board here because, people do need to see that. Hey, we need to get more people watching this show. Thank you very much, and getting the kids the recognition that they deserve. And, Jake, I really appreciate that. By the way, that's my son's name too. So big time there. We definitely want to get a Jake mention as well. But yes, we'd love to get to have more people watching the show. And it's a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, it's from the heart too. We want to promote the positive things here on Midwest Sportsnet. We want to talk about the good things as often as we possible. And what about Holloway and Taylor there for Cumberland? How about another school we haven't had on the show yet this year? Southern Oregon. Blake Asiuto, 17 for 29 passing for 416 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And the Raiders get the big victory. And by the way, this is a big win in a tough Frontier Conference against a tough Montana Western team. 49-14, the Raiders come away with the victory there. Southern Oregon now 3-3 on the season. He didn't do it by himself, though. Christian Graney, 10 receptions. Get this, 267 yards. That's one of the top 5 performances in the NAIA this season. And 2 of those 4 touchdown passes went to Graney. Congratulations to the Raiders, 3-3. Cumberland also 3-3. Let's continue on down the line. A couple of teams now that are undefeated on the year. One of them is the Bethel Wildcats. Joaquin Collazo, the third, big day, 30 for 55 passing, 463 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 1 pick in there as well. The Wildcats are now 6-0. They took care of business and handled the University of the Cumberland's, the Patriots, as they fall 43-13. Bethel with the victory, 6-0 now on the year, and had a little help too. Had to give the ball to somebody. 7 of those receptions of Aunt Burris on the day. 7 receptions, 165 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown. And you have to look at that number too. Burris with 165 yards receiving on the day. Ordinarily, you say, man, that's a fantastic day. That's got to be, top day throughout the NAIA. Not with days like what Christian Graney had or what this next gentleman had. But let's stick with Bethel for just a second. Bethel 6-0. Big game for Bethel. They're a top 5 team right now. And that's in more than one poll. I believe they were top 5, should be in top 5 in the NAIF ball poll that Corey and John host down there, which, by the way, we have a vote in as well. I know Vince was talking about this on his show out in Phoenix on Saturday, and Vince, a voter out there from Varsity Sports Show. Well, we're voters right here as well on Midwest Sportsnet. So Bethel, a top 5 team. But the undisputed number 1 team in the country, without question, is Morningside. And the Mustangs did what the Mustangs do once again. GPAC play, a GPAC blowout. 70-17, Morningside over Hastings on Saturday. It was 56-10 at the half. This one was all but in the books with 30 minutes of game time left to play. But Morningside, they've been consistent all year, and that's with Joe Dolenchek at the helm. And I know, Frank, if you're continuing watching, well, we have to get him out there. Now, by the way, ordinarily, throughout the season, I don't know if we've had him in the top 5. This isn't the second time in the top 5. Dolenchek consistently has fantastic numbers. Sometimes we have him beyond the 5. Tonight we have him in the top 5. And there's no way around this. You can't look at this any differently. You have to have him top 5, and we're going to mention him at the end because this is how we're wrapping things up here. Dolenchek, 26 for 36, 454 yards passing, 8 touchdowns. That many. 8 touchdowns. Let me get this hand turned around where the camera's there. There we go. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dolanchek was on fire, 454 yards passing. He leads the NAIA in passing yards per game with 374.6 passing yards per game. Tops also in the country in touchdown passes, with 20 of those had 8 in this last weekend. Well, of those 8 touchdowns, 4 of them went to Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson with 11 receptions, 258 yards receiving, and again, 4 touchdowns. Johnson second in the NAIA in receiving yards, 141.8 receiving yards per game. He's also second in the NAIA in receiving touchdowns with 9 of them. And we get Champion Sports Network chiming in here on Dolanchek's day. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there. 8 touchdowns. Here we go. He's a video game. I'm telling you what, it really is. We talk about video game numbers. Dolanchek has been putting that up. And you know, realistically, it's what's been happening all for the last more than 4 years. I know 4 years, 4 seasons, we can talk about that. It's been going on a little bit beyond that. But for Coach Ryan, who, by the way, is a Hall of Famer now for Morningside, can make it in the Hall of Fame. He just has been reloading. And Dolanchek waited his time, and he's definitely taking care of business. This happening in the first half. That's right. All this in the first half. 56-10 at the break. They had it taken care of. So you wonder, you don't want to use all of them up, and you hope that you're not using everything up. I know. It's an unlimited supply. And as the folks at Champion Sports Network said, you know, it's a video game. So just keep reloading. So let's go through really quickly, looking at that. Concordia, Correll, Cole Moose, congratulations to him, the all-time leader in receptions at Concordia. And he likely, I think he should. I think it's going to happen. He will probably top the mark for receiving yards there for the Bulldogs. For Cumberland, Luke Holloway and Jalen Taylor. For Southern Oregon, Blake Asiato and Christian Graney. For Bethel, Joaquin Collazo and Avant Burris. And for Morningside, Joe Dolanchek and Austin Johnson. Don't forget, lots more big games that are coming up. And let me remind you really quickly, the Bluefield at Reinhardt game, and we may have a chance to talk between now and Saturday again, but if we don't, Bluefield and Reinhardt game, if you're watching, Bluefield's still my dark horse to make the playoffs, and they're going to have to get a victory against Reinhardt, I think, to do it. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. Indiana Wesleyan, my other dark horse team to make the playoffs. They are now 4-1. We have one more here. That's right. Waldorf at Dickinson State. Big game there. That is huge in the North Star. That has playoff implications. And in Fort Worth, don't forget, the undefeated Langston Lions are coming to town to take on Texas Wesleyan. That is a huge game going on in Fort Worth on Saturday. And Frank, yeah, you know what? I'll throw this one up there really quickly. I agree entirely. By the way, Frank, I have a daughter who's a 2-time NAIA All-American at Oklahoma City, and I have to tell you, she got all of her talent from her mother as well. So, but that doesn't keep me from being a proud dad. So you keep right on being a proud dad, Frank Dolanchek. All right. Hey, I want to say thanks to everybody for watching. Please, I want to remind you, and by the way, Jake Redcorn for mentioning tonight, let somebody know about the show. We have a lot of fun, and we're trying to grow the channel. It has been growing, but you know what? It could use a little help from you. So I get by with a little help from my friends, and you guys watching the show, I would consider you friends. So thanks for watching. I appreciate that. It means a lot. Tell someone, subscribe to the channel. And, where are you, Stephen? I'm looking down my comments here. Champion Sports Network. Frank is reaching out to you there. Does he get his football IQ from you? We do have a Patreon. We will get that into the description, and we'll make sure it's in the description next week. That always helps as well. But you know what? We're growing the channel, so please keep watching. We have the subscribers now, so we're looking to get that watch time one here. So thanks a whole lot. Hey, shout out to everyone for commenting tonight. Thank you. You made it enjoyable for me. I always enjoy talking to you, and never really get to know sometimes who I'm talking to. I really appreciate the last couple of weeks of people responding in the comments section. And by the way, Jake, if you're still watching, we've already been at Wichita this year. We love going to Wichita. It's a lot of fun. Dr. Ramsire up there does a fantastic job. Always enjoy getting to visit with Levi Converse. And, of course, my goodness, the great Terry Harrison, who made coaching in the KCAC cool. Well, there you go. It's a lot of fun, so we'll keep that in mind. All right. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, couldn't get away without putting that up there. Okay, really, really quickly, thanks again for watching. if we do not get a chance to speak again between now and Saturday, don't forget about those big games on the schedule, and we will definitely be back on Monday. Thank you so much, Champion Sportsnet, for watching, and we appreciate it. God bless you all. You guys have a great night. Thanks again.